just because a man has kids, it doesn't mean that the kids will, you have men raising kids that grow up to hate them. Do the men have authority in their own households?
In the good marriages, they do.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the majority?
Well, I don't know. These days people say that two men can be married. So, people are very confused about what marriage is.
Correct.
Marriage is why we are here today. Welcome back to the Wilson Brothers channel. I'm Isaac. This is David.
What's up, guys?
Guys, today we are reacting to Michael Knowles interviewing Pearl Davis on does marriage really make men happy? Guys, comment below. Are you happy in your marriage? Probably should do it from anonymous account so your wife doesn't find you.
Do you want to be married? Or you just want to mess around? I don't know.
Is marriage important?
Is it? We will find out.
And we'll give you our perspective too.
What I am saying is men ought to do the right thing. That at the basis of the natural law is one precept, which is do good and avoid evil. Mm-hmm. The first thing that we apprehend is being, right? It's existence. The next thing that we apprehend, and this is the first thing we apprehend through our practical reason, which is oriented toward action, is good. Doing good. When you do something, you want to do good and you want to avoid evil. And so what I'm saying is that marriage and family, the end of marriage being the begetting and education of children, and secondarily, the mutual support of the spouses, is good for man. So I'm not saying this isn't Michael's crazy view. I'm saying this is a natural part. It's why this has existed throughout all of human society everywhere, and it's why we are all inclined to do it, whether or not Pearl or Michael wants it.
Okay, so do you think it's wrong if a man wants to build a business? And he
Depends what the business is.
He doesn't, okay, but whatever. And instead of pursuing women, he pursues his business. Instead of pursuing a marriage and a family.
I think it would be a mistake for a man to pursue material good to the exclusion of better goods.
Okay, what about coaching? What about teaching? Like, why?
I think our jobs in the commercial economy are good things, but I think modern liberalism and individual anthropologies make an idol out of that, and that is to the harm of men. We shouldn't make an idol out of our jobs. I like my job a lot, but it's not my whole life.
And the other problem you get into is, again, just because a man has kids, it doesn't mean that the kids will, you have men raising kids that grow up to hate them. Even in the story that I showed you.
It's bad. But within marriage or divorce?
Both.
Yeah, both.
I've seen, kids get alienated from their fathers.
How?
That are, in the same household. It happens all the time.
How does it happen? I agree it happens.
Well, the man's working. And so the mom spends more time with the kids. The mom's talking all day in the kid's ear. It's a really sad thing.
So you're saying the mom hates the dad?
Yeah.
That seems to be a problem that predates the alienation.
No, it totally is.
It
totally is. And,
and the schools and the TV, and everyone says the men are dolts and idiots. Yeah, I agree. That's terrible.
Yeah, but that's my point is just because a man has kids, it doesn't mean his legacy will live on.
No, again, I don't think...
Okay.
That's such a jaded view.
Okay.
That's a postmodernist, jaded view.
I will say this. I've seen some stuff from Pearl. The problem I've always had with her is that she looks at what she thinks the world is and doesn't give any solutions for it.
She brings OnlyFans models on her podcast.
She has a very pessimistic worldview. Yeah. And so what I mean by that, she is saying that just because you have kids, it doesn't mean your legacy will live on because they could hate you. One, it depends how you raise your kids.
Yeah.
Most people that hate their father is because he was either abusive, he was absent, he wasn't a really strong man in their life. Yeah. A man that actually takes responsibility and leads his house in the correct way, which again, we've gone on that through videos, so I won't bore you with that. They usually end up building something strong. So she's saying it would be better to have zero chance of a legacy as opposed to there's a chance that you might not have a legacy because your kids can. I don't get the logic behind that.
No, it's the framing that she's doing. It's not that she's saying that you won't have a legacy. It's that how you have that legacy. She doesn't believe in marriage. She doesn't believe that marriage is more. It's more a possibility of negativity coming at you, stealing your rights. The woman getting half the money, etc. So she's looking at it from a broken man's perspective.
Yeah, but she's also looking at it from someone that believes in abortion, from their perspective. Because their perspective is the kid is going to have a hard life because it's going to be a single mother. So it's better to have no life, as opposed to having a hard life.
Having a chance at having a hard life is a part of life.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is she's saying it's better for a man to not have kids as opposed to possibly not having their kids love them and having a legacy with that. So it's all or nothing.
The idea of me just building a business and not getting married and having children seems like the most horrible life.
I could be a 70-year-old billionaire.
It's just materialism.
And imagine I die and everything I worked for means
guys
nothing.
like out there, don't believe these lies that you just need to go out there and build a business and become a millionaire at the expense of not having a family. Even Andrew Tate himself says, whether you love him or hate him, he says women are the best, most beautiful gift on this earth, and having children is literally why you're alive.
He wants to have an absolute Tate empire.
Yeah.
Of 25
I don't agree.
boys.
I don't agree with how he's going to
But
have
at least
kids.
he still values kids.
He values family.
Yeah, and she doesn't. So
Kids are the chief end of man in the world. But I do think it is an important aspect of it and an expression of it. And you can raise kids who are likely not to hate you. There are things that you can do and things that you can avoid that will increase that likelihood.
I mean, that's true, but there's no guarantees, and I think
no guarantees
it's
of anything.
Nothing is guaranteed in life.
I think it's
Nothing is guaranteed in life. Nothing.
that's such a pessimistic
view.
female way of looking at it for this. I'm not talking about women in general. I'm talking about that's a female way of looking at it.
She's a very masculine female.
Yeah,
though.
but what I'm saying is she's looking at it she's combining the emotional and the practical in a weird way.
I just wanted to do that quick excerpt. We can get back to it. It just makes me
There's
mad.
no guarantee. Okay, then why start a business?
Yeah, why fall in love?
I'll just real quick, 15 seconds. Why start a business? There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
Why do anything hard? Why start going to the gym? Because there's a chance that you might get sick one way.
Why would you love somebody? They could potentially reject you. Why love at all?
Why love it all?
Yeah.
Why do anything? Why buy food at a restaurant? You can get food poisoning. Golly.
it's a higher risk, and I think I would really encourage you to spend a couple days in family court. I think it would really
Yeah, I mean,
change your point
I've
of
had
view.
close friends who have been in brutal divorces. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
a little bit of it up close. It's dreadful.
Yeah, and at times, they didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah,
Because-
well,
because
they've all
women-
done something.
If women feel like leaving, they can leave. We can leave.
They can. But how does the marriage break down? It's like Hemingway describes bankruptcy in The Sun Also Rises. Happens gradually and then suddenly. So it seems to me, I'm not letting women off the hook. Sometimes crazy, feminist ladies go nuts and divorce their husbands and poison, the kids against their father, and they do all sorts of terrible things.
Yeah.
But marriage is a union of two people, and I
Takes two
agree
to
with you.
tango.
A lot of people, when they get into marriage these days, including the men, especially the men, not only don't know what they're signing up for, they don't even really have a vision of what they're signing up for. They don't even know what they want to be signing up for.
Correct.
And so that's a mistake. That's an error on the part of the men often and of the women. But the men are the head of the household, so more responsibility falls onto them. And then the way they lead their lives, I would say.
But do they get authority too?
Who do they give authority to?
No, do the men have authority in their own households?
In the good marriages, they do.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the majority?
Well, I don't know. I mean, these days people say that two men can be married. So, people are very confused about what marriage is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But in the real marriages and the flourishing marriages, the men do have a headship.
What percent of marriages do you think are happy after 50 years?
Well, all I have to go by is the General Social Survey and some of the Chicago studies that come as a result of that. And the evidence is that, according to statistics and social science,
50% divorce.
yeah, granted anywhere from 40 to 50% divorce.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, according to the GSS, which is probably the biggest data set we have on this, the happiest people are men and women married with children. Followed by men and women married without children. Well, I'll come to that.
Okay.
Followed by divorced parents without children, followed by divorced parents with children. And one Chicago study from last year showed the happiness gap between married and unmarried to be 30 points. So you're talking about, again, how do you measure happiness? I think a lot of it's bunk, but as much as you can.
And the men that get married tend to be tall. Women select for tall, handsome, successful men.
That's how I describe myself.
Tall, successful, good-looking men or whatever are very few and far between.
Yep.
I know people that are overweight that get married. I know people that are 5'5", and these men are horrible looking.
I don't think, from women I've talked to, women haven't told me that they want tall, dark, and handsome as much as she thinks. I think she's coming at it
She's
from,
looking at it from, the people that have been on her podcast.
Yeah, she's looking at it from a masculine perspective, and women don't, and from at least what they've told me, they don't look at it that way. If you have a good heart, you're a good man, you actually are striving, because yes, women want a man that's ambitious, that's going to go out there and conquer, But most, like the average height of a man is 5'9". I understand though, from her perspective, that a lot of men are looked down upon because they don't fit certain criteria that it would mean to reproduce or have a good genetic line that women actually deeply want. But there's going to be compromises in any relationship.
Women are not as attracted to the physical as men are.
Yeah.
I don't care what she says or anybody else. That is the fact. Men are attracted to a woman's who they are, their character and physical attributes.
Yep.
Women want a man that can take care of them, and it doesn't always mean they have to be powerful guys. I know guys that are 5'8" in the gym on their purpose, and they can get any girl they want.
Yep.
That's just a fact of life. But what she said about 50% divorce rate, you know what that also means? 50% of people that are married for 50 years for their entire life.
Yep.
So she's demonizing marriage. Yes, 50% of people will get divorced within 50 years of being married. Yeah. But for that chance to actually make it to the end and also put yourself in a good position to get there.
I do think a lot of men struggle with learning how to be content single and build that ambition before they get married.
Yeah.
So they go into a marriage and they don't know how even to take care of themselves, let alone somebody else.
That's true.
And the women do end up having resentment and potentially leave because of that.
Well, yeah.
But if you become the best version of yourself before you get married, men, then your likelihood of getting divorced goes down tremendously because you can't take care of someone else if you can't take care of yourself.
But you see, so you're attributing it to marriage. And I'm saying the men that women pick are happy anyways.
You're saying happier people are more inclined to get married.
No. Well, partially, but no, I'm saying that women pick tall, handsome, successful men, and I would imagine that they would be happier.
Because the men are hot and rich.
No, not hot. Why are you doing that?
That's what you just said.
Tall, handsome, successful,
I said hot.
happy.
You said tall.
We could add in happy. I mean, do women tend to, women tend to want tall, happy, successful men. So I wouldn't necessarily just attribute it to marriage, even though in some cases that helps.
I'm having a little trouble following. You're saying because
you guys always attribute if a man's happy, it's because of his marriage.
I'm just saying
there are other.
I'm just saying married people are
Okay,
in
sorry,
as much as one can measure happiness, married people seem to be significantly happier than unmarried people.
I know that as a fact.
Then men will sign right up.
But I don't. I think people do things that are extremely perverse today because of largely because of individualism and liberalism.
Yeah.
But even that word happiness is important because we say we can't measure happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know that we can define happiness now.
Okay.
What do we even mean by happiness?
Mm-hmm.
I have a definition that I go by, but
Okay.
What do you mean by it?
I guess I couldn't say a definition off the top of my head. I see what you mean.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
so many people mean so many different things by it. I always go by good old Uncle Aristotle's definition of happiness as eudaimonia, which is rational activity conducted in accordance with virtue. And so the reason I mention this is not just because I love, the old dead thinkers, but because I think they had something right that will help to guide us through this very confused modern time.
Wow.
The way that you are describing marriage seems to be from an unmoored perspective.
And on what?
Unmoored, meaning
I don't know
not
what that
grounded in
means.
something. Meaning it's a little subjective. It's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Men can do whatever they like. You pick.
not
Some
what I
people have a
said.
different purpose.
That's not what I said.
I thought you said men can do whatever they like. Then I'm not going to I think you took issue with me for saying that I was coming to a moral judgment about how men.
No, I think that every man has to decide for himself. But I wouldn't recommend, say, like,
How should he decide?
following, in an ideal world, following God and his purpose.
Right. So following God and and how do we come to know our purpose?
I mean, I think following God typically meant.
How do we follow God?
Do you know what it says in the Bible? It is not good for man to be alone, that the man will leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and they will live in abundance, or whatever else the Bible says in that way.
They will live happily ever.
They will live happily ever after.
That's not what the Bible says, not that last part.
Not that last part.
But fruit, you will know them by their fruit. I think my definition of happiness, I love what he meant, what he was centering around virtue.
Yeah.
Virtue has become so perverse in this generation, specifically with TikTok brain, instant gratification. Men aren't taught to be patient and have hard work ethic and ambition outside of posting on social media. And like, we love doing content creation, guys, but this isn't our purpose just to do this alone. This is a part of it, but this isn't the sole reason why we do this. We're on this channel to help men be strong, capable, happy, and healthy. And that means doing the hard things, making hard choices that might not be where the majority of the crowd goes, because virtue has been so redefined and become so relative these days that truth no longer has value or meaning, and it's a relativistic,
What is true happiness? Going back to that, because he was defining it in a very poetic way, but she couldn't even define what happiness is.
True happiness to me is giving your life away for something bigger than yourself. Yeah. Whether that's your significant other, your children. Because men at the height of happiness in their lives is when they see somebody take what they've given them and actually do something with it.
Yeah, happiness for me is being on your purpose, going after something that you are trying to achieve, always having that goal, but knowing that you're building something for the future, so what you are investing in now has long-lasting fruit. And so what I mean by that is, I could have just been single and I could have just chased the money and I could have done all that, but that's all that is just with me. I'm not actually creating legacy. I'm not building something that's going to last beyond me, having generational impact. And you can't say that even having kids outside of a marriage is the best way to go. Like Andrew Tate, he believes in having 25 kids with multiple women. I love you, Andrew Tate. This is one thing I disagree with you on, because those kids aren't going to get the best of you. Yes, you might be able to give them all the money. You can't raise 25 children by yourself. If you want to have men or young boys that are out there and become men that are changing the world, you can't do that unless you're raising them the way you want them to be raised. And you can't give them individual attention. You need to train them in the way that they will go, and they will not depart from it. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. The beauty of marriage is, hey, you're my son. Let me show you the way into this world, as building something, being excited for where you're at, and building towards the future. That's true happiness. But this was an interesting interview. They have a whole hour-long podcast. We're going to do other videos on that, so subscribe so that you don't miss out on that. This was a very interesting debate on marriage. They have polar opposite views, but we're gonna go deep into that, because I'm married. Mm-hmm. Isaac wants to be married. Yeah, we've been in all the worlds they're talking about. Yeah, let's see what comes of it.
All right. See you guys in the next video.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Peace.